Hey guys, Ralph here. True Power Trumpet Fitness. Let's talk a little bit about Herbert L.CLARKE. Done some kettlebell today. I've done some 30 miles on the bike. Had a couple classes. I've not played yet today. This is it as usual. And you're probably getting sick of hearing that, but it's true. And yeah, Herbert L.CLARKE has affected us all. Let's talk some. Yeah, little demo about how the just got out of the shower. Little demo about how the Herbert L.CLARKE studies can really help with the lyrical playing. Anyway, Herbert L.CLARKE, really truly one of the greatest trumpet players of all time, and needless to say, many of us have never heard him. Born back in the late 1800s, died in 1946, I believe, and was actually a viola player, quite a good viola player when he was younger. That was his first instrument. And he was actually playing in the Queen's Own Symphony in Canada when he was in his teens. He was actually teaching at a conservatory up in Canada in his teens. And it wasn't until he heard a concert band and was mesmerized by the sound of the trumpet that he changed to the trumpet. And for many years, he was doing both. He was doing both. And it wasn't actually the trumpet, it was the cornet. Okay? Slowly worked himself into the bands in Canada, of course. And his main claim to fame was the great John Philip Sousa Band, which at that time may have been the top job in the world. To play cornet solos and first trumpet with the Sousa Band was absolutely it. He was also in New York for a period of time, and in the downtimes, when Sousa wasn't playing, he actually, check this out, played principal trumpet with the New York Philharmonic and principal trumpet with the Metropolitan Opera. Both. Such was the nature of the business back then, and those were the only times he actually played trumpet. Then, after those brief little interludes there, he went full-time with Sousa and composed and arranged and taught and all that sort of stuff. And he actually taught the great Claude Gordon. Now, how does he affect us? A couple ways. First of all, he, used a very, very small mouthpiece. He was not using a big bathtub. Until Vacchiano and Gustav Heim and a few of those came along, most people weren't. They were using this, what we would consider smaller mouthpieces, the equivalent of 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half C's type thing. Or whatever came with the instrument, in many cases, right? Yes. And he also used a very small mouthpiece. Also, absolutely 100%, I know for a fact, I know that people that have studied with him, that he tongue through the teeth. No question about it, tongue through the teeth. Now, as we know from his technical studies, most of it was very, very soft, so he wasn't using huge amounts of air. Now, Vacchiano told me that when we were going over some technical studies, and he didn't use the technical studies for very much, Vacchiano. I asked him why he didn't. He says, first of all, they're all soft. He says, but he was the loudest player I ever heard in my life. Quote, unquote, from Vacchiano. Again, I never heard him. The loudest player I ever heard in my life. And he says, I don't know why he did all this soft stuff. He says, the only reason I can think of is that it was to offset all the loud playing he did with the Sousa Band. Now remember, just about everything the Sousa Band did, first of all, it was an enormous band. Second of all, much of it was outside. You know, these outdoor amphitheaters and all this sort of stuff, parades, right? Big part of the Sousa Band, and he was the main guy, and Vacchiano, the loudest player I ever heard. Okay, and he sort of heard some loud. He taught Mel Broyle, so my God, this guy must have been strong. And Vacchiano also thought Del Stegers was very strong as well, but he said Clarke was stronger. Didn't have the dexterity that Stegers had, but anyway. So that's pretty much his career. What did he mean to us? I think to all of us, the Clarke Technical Studies is it. I mean, is there anybody that hasn't gone through that book? I know I have. I haven't played those in 25 years. I wore that book out. Wore it out. You think Doc Severinsen played it cover to cover? I played it cover to cover every day. I mean, if Doc can do it, I can do it. That was my thinking back then. And I wore the thing out to the point where I can't stand them anymore. I can't stand them. But I will tell you this. I did a video on long tones, and that I don't like long tones for pretty much anything. But this is so much better for your lyrical playing than long tones, in my opinion. I mean, it's not even close. First of all, from a completely physiological standpoint, long tones make no sense. They're very, very static. It's like taking a weight. Long tones. I mean, that's not an exercise. It's certainly not building up chops. Now, what do you do with the Clarke study if you were compared to a I mean, it's moving all over the place. I think in exercise, there should be movement, okay? Long tones, there's not a lot of movement. Now, I'm not going to go into long tones, but I do believe, for my money, the Clarke book is much better for lyrical playing than long tones. Now, as far as the soft playing is concerned, I don't mind soft playing if people know what they're doing, because I don't believe in a lot of air. I do believe in a big tone, but I don't believe in a lot of air. So if that means, especially with beginners, playing soft at the beginning, before you learn how to compress and get the volume back and forth, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I don't agree with what Clarke said about using over and over and over and over and over to build chops. The only way you're going to build chops is compress the air. Now, it's much easier to compress the air when you're playing with little air. We've gone through this a zillion times. So I'm willing to bet, I know he tongued through the teeth, and I know that he was playing soft much of his practice. So it doesn't surprise me a bit from what Vacchiano said, that he was just a mother strong when he got out there. He was probably playing exactly like us, okay, with the true power. Now, he also taught Claude Gordon. And I know some people with Claude Gordon that study with Claude Gordon personally. I didn't ask it myself. I told you I met him years ago. I was much younger. Later on, I met some people that study with Claude Gordon, and they said he studied with Herbert L. Clarke, and Herbert L. Clarke taught him through the teeth. And this is a quote from Claude Gordon. He said, I couldn't do it. So I went back and did my own thing and did the syllable thing. He said, it just didn't work for me. So, again, Clarke was pretty much teaching it mostly the way we are doing it and whatnot. Now, his solos, wonderful. The Carnival of Venice, Maid of the Mist, Shores of the Mighty Pacific, they're fabulous. They're fabulous cornet solos. And if you haven't done them, check them out. They are, for my way, they fit into my playing a little bit easier than the Stegers and the Arban stuff. The Stegers and the Arban stuff do a lot of multiple tonguing. And unless you are Stegers or Vizzuti or something like that, can just really smoke the multiple tonguing, mine's pretty good, but it's certainly not Vizzuti or Stegers like. unless you can really smoke that, it doesn't really lend itself to being a solo. If it's going slow, it's not as impressive. So the other ones, I like them a little better, especially for people that don't have Vizzuti-like technique, which is pretty much all of us. Anyway, so Herbert L.CLARKE, probably one of the greatest of all time. And he's not in my top 5. I never heard him. A couple scratchy recordings, with the Sousa band and all that. But he was certainly a brilliant, brilliant man. Remember, not only the trumpet, he was an accomplished viola player. Okay, so there's no question he was, state-of-the-art gray matter. And, yeah, Herbert L.CLARKE. But the solos and the technical studies, generations from now, they'll still be doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They'll still be doing it. God bless him. He really left his mark. That's, I guess, at the end of the day, all any of us can hope to do. Okay, have a great day, guy. Love you all, and live your life with true power.